Grandma was once a pastor and now reveals shocking secrets hidden behind closed doors. Evelyn stood before her childhood home, the spring breeze kissing her cheeks as she took a deep breath. Memories flooded back, the smell of fresh-baked cookies, the sound of laughter in the garden. But today, a heaviness weighed on her. Grandma Rose had always been her rock, a beloved pastor in their small town with a reputation for fiery sermons and a heart full of compassion. But the moment she stepped into Grandma's house, a hint of something darker lurked in the corners. A dusty journal on the old wooden desk caught her eye. With trembling hands, she opened it, revealing entries that felt like whispers from the past. Scrawled notes about late-night meetings with shadowy figures, strange rituals performed beneath the church. Evelyn could feel her heart racing, each word pulling her deeper into a mystery that made her skin crawl. Grandma Rose had always been the beacon of light in their lives, but these pages painted a different picture. They showed a woman trapped in a web of betrayal and hidden sins. There were mentions of people, church members, now giving her sidelong glances filled with a mix of reverence and fear. What could Rose have done to earn such looks? Evelyn's mind raced. She thought back to the kind faces who'd once sat in the pews, eyes glowing as Grandma preached about compassion and forgiveness. But now, she imagined them murmuring secrets in hushed tones, each word a dagger to her heart. What if the woman she adored wasn't the saint everyone believed her to be? An old photograph slipped from between the pages, fluttering to the floor. Evelyn grasped it, the image crackling with age. It depicted a group of solemn faces, all adults save for one girl who seemed uncomfortable, eyes wide with fear. As her gaze traveled back to the journal, she felt a chill run down her spine. The girl in the picture looked eerily familiar. Was that her mother? Panic clawed at her throat. Had Grandma Rose hidden this part of their family's story? And why? Did her past stake a claim to Evelyn's faith, twisting it until it unraveled? The church's familiar bell tolled in the distance, dragging her back to the present. But the air felt thick, charged with unspoken truths. Each tick of the clock echoed like a countdown, and Evelyn knew she couldn't turn away. The secrets were alive, threatening to claw their way into the light. But what good would it do? Would uncovering the truth heal their wounds or create a rift that could never be mended? As shadows danced across the walls, Evelyn felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos, the possibility that the truth could set them free. But where to start? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Evelyn stood frozen, the dusty journal heavy in her hands. Each word she had read felt like a scar ripping open her heart. The memories of Grandma Rose, the laughter, the warmth, now tainted by these dark revelations. She had to know more. Each tick of the clock seemed to echo in her head, urging her to uncover the truth. She flipped through the pages feverishly, her fingers trembling. "How could you hide this from me, Grandma?" she whispered, the emptiness in her voice hanging like a thick fog. Shadows cloaked the room, whispering secrets that begged to be unearthed. She flipped a few more pages, her eyes racing until she spotted something that made her blood run cold. A name. Jacob. The name spilled from the page like poison. Jacob was a member of the church, a benefactor. A man she had always admired. But there it was, scrawled in frantic handwriting. Jacob knows. He's a part of it. What did that mean? Her mind reeled as she tried to connect the dots, to piece together a puzzle that felt impossibly tangled. But just then, the front door creaked open, and Evelyn jumped. Heart pounding, she rushed to the living room, bracing herself. "Grandma?" she called out, but no answer came. The house was empty, but her instincts screamed that she wasn't alone. Then she heard it, a soft thud from the basement. The sound echoed like a ghost calling her down. With cautious steps, she made her way to the basement door, holding the journal like a shield. Her heart thumped faster, each beat urging her to turn back. But curiosity and dread pulled her forward. As she descended the rickety stairs, the air grew heavy, thick with the scent of something lingering. Mold? Or something more sinister? The dim light flickered, and Evelyn squinted into the shadows. The basement felt like another world, one filled with secrets better left buried. Then she saw it, candles arranged in a circle on the floor, the faint scent of burnt wax lingering in the air. The floor was strewn with symbols she didn't recognize, an intricate pattern that filled her with unease. In the center, an old trunk sat, half open. She approached it, terror mingling with the flicker of courage she felt swelling inside. Suddenly, from behind her, came a voice that turned her blood to ice. "Did you really think you were ready for the truth?" Evelyn spun around to see a figure emerging from the shadows, tall and cloaked in darkness. "Jacob?" she gasped, recognition hitting her like a wave. It was him. The man she had admired now stood. Like a specter, eyes glinting with something she didn't understand. Malice? Knowledge? "This isn't what it seems," he said, advancing slowly. "Your grandmother, she wasn't just a pastor. She was part of something much larger. She chose to protect you from the darkness." "Protect me? From what?" Her voice trembled with fear and disbelief. His gaze hardened. "From a legacy that binds our families together in ways you cannot begin to comprehend." Evelyn felt the world tilt beneath her. Memories of Grandma Rose's loving smile, now warped by shadows. What had she been shielded from? With a racing heart and a lump in her throat, she demanded, "What are you talking about?" His smile sent chills down her spine. "You're in it now, Evelyn. There's no turning back. Your grandmother made a choice, and it seems the time has come for you to make yours." Sudden panic gripped her. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown. The room pulsated with a darkness that seemed to come alive around her. "What do you want from me?" Jacob stepped closer, his voice low, conspiratorial, a whisper that sent a shiver down her spine. "To understand the truth. The truth about your own bloodline." Evelyn's world spiraled, a wave of questions crashing against her. Bloodline? What truth? What had Grandma hidden? She was about to step into a darkness none of them had anticipated, a mystery deeper than she'd ever known. The echoes of her life began to unravel. leading her towards something terrifying, yet undeniable. What would she uncover next? Evelyn felt her heart thrumming in her chest as Jacob's words hung in the air. Your grandmother made a choice, and it seems the time has come for you to make yours. Fear twisted her stomach, a painful knot. She didn't want any part of whatever darkness surrounded them. Wait, she said, her voice shaky but firm. What do you mean by my bloodline? What did Grandma accuse? Jacob stepped closer, his face just inches from hers. You're about to find out, Evelyn. He reached into his cloak, and her breath hitched. Then, in a swift motion, he pulled out a small, ornate box, its deep crimson surface gleaming under the dim light. He opened it with a flourish, revealing a glimmering pendant. Inside, an intricate design that felt both ancient and powerful. This belongs to you now. Instinctively, she stepped back. I don't want anything from you. But Jacob smiled, sinister and knowing. You can't escape this, Evelyn. It's been waiting for you. Before she could respond, the house shook. Dust rained down from the rafters as the walls creaked in protest. The lights flickered violently, and a low rumble echoed like thunder. What is happening? Panic bubbled inside her. Jacob's expression shifted, worry flaring in his dark eyes. No time for questions. We need to go. Go? Where? She shouted, frantically glancing around, feeling the walls close in. The basement door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The candles flickered wildly as shadows twisted unnaturally across the walls. Then, against the chaos, Evelyn saw something. A figure emerging, tall and cloaked in dark, much like Jacob. Stay away from her! The voice was familiar, but twisted in a way that sent fresh chills down her spine. It was Grandma Rose. She emerged from the shadows, her face pale yet fierce. You shouldn't have come here. Grandma! Evelyn cried, shock coursing through her. What is happening? Evelyn, listen to me. This is dangerous. Jacob scoffed, taking a step back. You're too late, Rose. She's already become part of it. Part of what? Evelyn's voice cracked, desperation slicing through her confusion. Before Grandma could answer, the ground shook violently again. The candles extinguished, plunging them into darkness. In that instant, Jacob lunged, but Grandma was faster. She tackled him. And they both fell, a clash of shadows and chaos. Then, in the midst of the struggle, Jacob shattered a nearby candle holder, the glass exploding everywhere. In the dimness, a shard caught the light, revealing Grandma's arm, marked with symbols, etchings that looked like the ones on the floor. What are those? Evelyn's heart raced as she stumbled back, piecing together the horrific truth. What did you do? Grandma gasped, her breath a harsh whisper. It's a pact, Evelyn, a legacy meant to be broken. I thought I could protect you. But before she could finish, sparks erupted from the ground, illuminating the basement in a ghostly glow. Jacob regained his footing, his eyes fierce with determination. You won't hide her from the truth, Rose. The air crackled with energy, a storm of menacing whispers filling the space. Evelyn felt the floor trembling beneath her, a pulse of ancient power that vibrated through her bones. You don't understand what you're waking up, Grandma cried, but her warning was lost amid the thunderous roar building around them. Just then, one of the basement walls cracked open, a dark void yawning. A chilling wind surged out, wrapping around Evelyn, tugging her toward it. No! she screamed, fighting against the pull. The truth was swirling in the air, urgent and demanding. She couldn't breathe as the room filled with shadows, voices echoing from the crack, beckoning her closer. "Evelyn, come back!" her grandmother shouted, desperation lacing her tone. But Jacob laughed, his voice rising above the chaos. "It's too late. Embrace your legacy or be consumed by it." The basement felt alive, a living thing, hungry and wild. Evelyn felt the darkness clawing at her, and amidst the pandemonium, one question pierced through her mind. Who truly held the power here? With a surge of defiance, she glanced at Jacob, then at Grandma, knowing the truth was deeper and darker than she ever imagined. And suddenly it all fell silent. A breathless pause before the storm. She knew she was on the edge of something unimaginable. But would she step forward, or would she retreat into the shadows? The basement swirled with chaos. Shadows blended into an impenetrable mass. And Evelyn, something was beckoning her, wrapping around her like a cold embrace. "No!" she screamed, refusing to go any closer. Grandma Rose's face was tight with desperation. "Evelyn, don't let it take you. You have a choice." Jacob, still crouched on the ground, shot a glance at Grandma, then back at Evelyn with a strange mix of hunger and concern. "You're stronger than you know, Evelyn. The legacy can be your strength. Just embrace it." Suddenly, the air crackled with an electric tension, as if the shadows were alive and ready to lunge at her. The walls trembled. The break in the basement widened, showing glimpses of swirling darkness beyond. "What legacy?" Evelyn shot back, aware of the fear in her own voice. "What do you mean? Choose? You two are acting like I'm part of some twisted story." "What you don't understand, Evelyn," Jacob whispered, his tone shifting as he stood, confidence growing, "is that you've been chosen for greatness. Your grandmother's secrets are not just hers, they're yours too." As their voices collided, Grandma stepped forward, urgency in her movements. "Evelyn, listen!" But the ground shook again, harder this time, and the shadowy figure growing close. Whispering secrets yanked Evelyn's gaze back to the void. Her heart raced, panic clawing at her throat. Then, in a sickening twist, the basement started to collapse. Stone and dust rained down like a storm. Jacob lunged towards her, but Grandma shouted, "No, stay away!" A blinding light erupted from the space opening. Evelyn shielded her eyes, just in time to see a figure emerging from the darkness. A woman, radiant and fierce, her silhouette shimmering against the ruin. "Mother?" Rose gasped, the words barely escaping her lips. The shock was paralyzing. The air felt heavy as the woman stepped through the shadows, her eyes piercing through the chaos as if she was surveying a battlefield. "You've let it consume you, Rose," she stated, with an authority that cracked through the madness. "You've kept her in the dark too long." "Who are you?" Evelyn's voice trembled, astonished and bewildered. "I'm your ancestral guide, Evelyn," the woman replied, her voice smooth but filled with an undercurrent of pain. "You have the power to break this cycle, but the truth comes with danger." And just like that, as if a switch had been flipped, the oppressive darkness twisted into something almost protective. Evelyn felt a warmth enveloping her, a bizarre contrast to the fear pulsating through the air. The ground still shook, the reality of the moment pressing down, but her heart felt lighter. Jacob's face twisted in confusion. "No, you can't. She's ours to claim." "Claim? What do you mean?" Evelyn shot back, realization dawning. "You've never cared for me, Have you? The woman stepped forward, taking hold of Evelyn's trembling hands. You belong to a history bigger than any one person. You're part of a powerful bloodline, but it's been corrupted by secrets. Evelyn's pulse raced as the truth began to unfurl. And you're the one who brought the darkness? No, the woman shook her head, eyes bright with a pain she didn't shy away from. I was betrayed. Your grandmother, she made a decision to protect you, but in doing so, she sealed the fate of our family. Evelyn's voice faltered, her breath coming in quick bursts. What fate? What did Grandma do? The basement trembled again, shadows converging into a knife-edge quiet, and Evelyn realized the power had shifted. The air was charged, alive with tension. Every choice lay before her, each one unfurling like a wild flower caught in a storm. Choose wisely, Evelyn, the woman whispered, a spark igniting in her eyes. Your heart knows the truth, but it'll come at a cost. Evelyn took a breath, fear battling against determination. Grandma. Rose looked on, fear visible on her face, and Jacob's anger simmered beside them. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about bloodlines, betrayal, and a truth that bound them all together. But what truth? The basement walls continued to shake, and with one final tremor, a choice loomed above them all. Would she dare to step forward, knowing that the one thing she was afraid of might be the key to freedom? Evelyn felt a sad determination settle within her as she held her grandmother's hands, looking fiercely into her eyes. The choice to be made. But as she opened her mouth to speak, the world erupted around them. The ground shook violently. Dust and debris rained down, lightning flashing through the cracks in the walls. Jacob shouted something unintelligible as he stumbled backward, panic gripping his face. Evelyn shifted her focus to the woman, this ancestral guide. The power in her presence felt undeniable. Stand together. We have to face this, the woman commanded, raising her hands toward the void. Just then, a cacophony of whispers surged from the gaping hole, swirling like a tornado. It felt as if the very essence of the unknown was rushing toward them, forcing Evelyn onto her knees. The darkness became a tangible entity, wrapping around her like icy fingers. Do not falter, the woman cried, her voice fierce and melodic, a chant rising above the chaos. You are stronger than the shadows! But a sudden flicker of crimson light exploded from the center of the chaos. A figure, cloaked and cloistered in shadow, emerged, sending a shockwave that knocked Evelyn back. The figure stepped into the glow, revealing an ethereal face, a face that shifted, flickered like a flame. Evelyn's breath caught. "Mom?" she whispered. The last word leaving her lips like a prayer. It was her mother, unmistakably. Yet there was something unsettling in her gaze, a depth entwined with ancient power. "I've come for you, Evelyn," she said, her voice carrying an eerie echo, as if whispering from beyond the grave. "Mom? But how?" Evelyn gasped, confusion twisting in knots inside her stomach. "Everything you thought you knew is a lie, my love. The legacy, it binds us all in ways you cannot fathom." Her mother reached out, but the darkness roared back, furious at this intrusion. "Stay away!" Grandma Rose shouted, fear igniting her words. "She chose darkness, Evelyn. Don't fall into her trap. Do not believe her. Jacob spat, anger pulsing through him. She's the reason for all this. Evelyn's head spun. The world was collapsing around her, and she was caught in the middle of a maelstrom. She searched her mother's eyes, still trying to find the warmth of the woman she remembered. But all she saw was cold resolve. "Why did you leave us?" Evelyn's voice cracked. A plea and a challenge all at once. Her mother's smile was twisted. "I left to protect you from the truth. I had to sever the bond. But it's time for you to understand, Evelyn. It's your blood, your power. You are the key to greatness or doom." Before Evelyn could react, the shadows surged forward, licking at her edges, an icy caress that sent shivers down her spine. The basement walls cracked further, creating a chasm that threatened to swallow them whole. In that moment, all eyes turned back to her. Jacob, her mother, and her grandmother, each waiting for her to make a decision that not only determined her fate, but unraveled the entire legacy. The swirling chaos around her began to quiet. But then a flicker of light darted through the shadows. Something glinted from the box that Jacob had dropped when the chaos started. Her heart raced. It was the pendant, a symbol of the past she'd tried to escape. Now a beacon calling her home. In a flash of instinct, she lunged for it, grabbing the pendant from the floor. As her fingers clasped around it, memories exploded in her mind. Truths and lies, love and betrayal, choices made in desperation and fear. But as the pendant shimmered, illuminating the darkness, her mother's laughter echoed, and a horrifying truth rolled like thunder through Evelyn's mind. You cannot escape what you are. The shadows surged again, swallowing the light, laughing as they pulled. Evelyn's heart hammered in her chest. Had she just condemned them all? Or perhaps something even more sinister was unraveling in that basement. She looked at them. Grandma, Jacob, and her mother. Each face twisted with expectation. Each one concealment and truth wrapped in a terrifying package. "Evelyn," her mother breathed, and everything froze. It's time to choose. And as the darkness threatened to consume her once and for all, she knew everything was about to change. But would she dare to dive into the truth that felt both heavy and exhilarating, or turn her back on the family secrets that shaped her every step? The room shuddered, waiting for her answer. Evelyn's pulse raced, the shimmering pendant warm in her hand, as her gaze shifted between Jacob and her mother, whose presence felt like a cruel joke wrapped in mystery. The basement trembled around them, a field of shadows and fear closing in. "You have to believe me, Evelyn. The truth will consume you if you don't." Grandma Rose's voice cut through the chaos like a knife, urgent and desperate. "I'll believe you, but I need to know the whole story," Evelyn shouted, her voice barely audible over the rumbling walls. She was caught in a web of ancestral conflict. Tension crackled in the air like static, building to a breaking point. Suddenly, with a deafening crack, the darkness surged forward. The void widened, pulsating as it drew in shadows and light alike, an all-consuming maw ready to swallow them whole. Evelyn felt the pendant heat in her palm, urging her forward. "Evelyn, listen!" her mother insisted, eyes pleading. "You must embrace it. It's your destiny." "No!" Grandma Rose yelled, stepping closer to Evelyn. It's a trap! She is a part of the darkness! The shadows seethed around them as Jacob laughed maniacally, his voice slicing through the tension like glass. You've all been pawns in this ridiculous play. But Evelyn, your true nature is awakening. Join me. Evelyn clutched the pendant tighter, feeling its raw energy resonate within her. Everything was shifting, swirling in a dizzying dance of light and dark. She glanced at her mother, longing to find the warmth she once knew. You don't want me to be part of this, do you? I never wanted this life for you, her mother replied, frustration tinged with resignation. But it's too late to escape what you are. In that heartbeat, the air charged and the temperature dropped. Shadows convulsed toward Evelyn, urging her to step into the chasm. Panic gripped her yet again. But then, something unexpected happened. The pendant exploded with blinding white light. A shockwave rippled through the basement, throwing everyone off balance. Evelyn gasped, shielding her eyes, and when she opened them, nothing was as it seemed. The figure that had emerged from the void shifted, morphing into something grotesque. It was no longer her mother, but a creature wreathed in shadows, its face flickering like a dying light bulb. Evelyn recoiled, the realization hitting her like a thunderbolt. This was not her mother at all. Impossible! Jacob sputtered, his confidence crumbling. What have you done? The creature raised a skeletal hand, and with a voice that echoed with centuries of fury, it hissed. You thought it was her? No. I've taken her form, played the long game just as your grandmother did. Your family has always been blind to the true darkness that binds us. Evelyn's heart plunged. You're the one pulling the strings? Who are you? The entity laughed, a chilling sound that rattled the bones of the basement. I am the legacy. The darkness is my domain, and your bloodline nourishes my power. You are all mere vessels. Evelyn's breath hitched as she locked eyes with Grandma Rose, betrayal thrumming between them. This wasn't just about revealing family secrets. It was about an ancient evil woven through their very existence. Evelyn! Grandma shouted, scrambling to regain control. Don't listen to it. Trust me, I can protect you. But the creature stepped forward, darkness slithering around it like smoke. There is no protection. You are my key, Evelyn. Together, we shall reign over the shadows. The roaring chaos intensified, and the walls wept cracks wider, swallowing the light. Evelyn's mind raced as she wavered between fear and defiance. The truth unveiled a horrifying legacy, yet there was no turning back. Every choice has consequences, the creature taunted, its voice laced with darkness. Are you ready to embrace your fate? Just then, a tremor shook the ground, and all fell silent. The choice hung heavy in the air, and Evelyn felt the weight of generations resting on her shoulders. Would she let this darkness define her, or would she fight against it? The moment stretched endlessly, holding her in its grip. And as she prepared to make her choice, the darkness swelled, eager for a resolution. But then the basement ceiling gave way, a beam crashing down between them, scattering dust and debris. The moment shattered, chaos erupting anew. Everything blurred, and in that blinding confusion, the pendant slipped from her grasp, clattering across the room. No! Evelyn screamed as she lunged to grab it, the world around her spinning wildly out of control. The pendant was the key, but what would it unlock? Darkness surged around her, shadows twisting like serpents as she struggled to reach the glimmering truth. Would she unravel the mystery of her family, or would the shadows consume them all? Evelyn lunged for the pendant, fingers brushing against its cool surface, just as the basement walls seemed to convulse, shaking everything around her. The moment she wrapped her hand around it, a surge of energy coursed through her, sending a jolt of clarity to her mind. But the creature that had taken her mother's form shrieked, a sound that echoed with rage and hurt. "What have you done?" it screamed, the shifting shadows flickering violently around its form. In that instant, the pendant pulsed brightly, illuminating the basement like a beacon. The shadowy figure recoiled from the light, and Evelyn felt an overwhelming both a weapon and a shield. "You've woken something ancient, something powerful," it snarled. "This is not a game." Evelyn's heart raced, her pulse drumming loudly in her ears. "Get out of my way!" she shouted, the fear in her voice giving way to defiance. Shadows shrank back, swirling like smoke. She could feel the very foundation of her family's history shifting beneath her feet. And then, just as the creature lunged forward, a deafening crack split the air. The ground beneath them rippled, like the surface of a lake disturbed by a stone. For a moment, everything stopped. A voice boomed, echoing like thunder through the basement. "Enough!" From the gaping void behind the creature, another figure emerged, cloaked entirely in brilliant light. As it stepped into view, the room dimmed, leaving only the glow surrounding this newcomer. Evelyn squinted, her breath hitching as recognition washed over her. "Dad?" She couldn't believe her eyes. Her father had been gone, lost to a tragic accident years ago. He had vanished into thin air, leaving only questions and grief behind. But here he was, looking at her with a fierce intensity, as if he had slumbered in the shadows all that time. "Evelyn, you must listen," he said, his voice firm yet gentle. "There isn't much time. The darkness is more than it seems." "What?" Evelyn half shouted, half cried, withdrawn from the moment's confusion. "How can this be? I thought you were dead." "I was," he admitted, the glimmer of sorrow lingering in his eyes, "but not in the way you think. I was trapped. This darkness has been manipulating our family for generations. I broke free to warn you." Jacob's face twisted in disbelief. "You're lying. You can't be here. This is a trick." But Evelyn hardly heard him. She was lost in the moment. "You, my whole life. Why didn't you come back? After everything?" "I thought I was protecting you. I thought I could shield you from the truth," he said, stepping closer, shadows receding before him. "But it's time you know what your family has hid for too long." The creature hesitated, eyes narrowing. "You won't have the right to interfere. She belongs to the shadows now." "No!" Evelyn shouted, the words bursting from her like a dam. "I belong to myself." Her father's eyes flashed with pride. "That's my girl." "But you need to make a choice, Evelyn. The pendant is your link to both worlds, the light and the darkness. Its power can be harnessed to break the cycle." Evelyn's heart raced, the weight of her family's legacy heavy in her hands. "But what if I choose wrong? Then everything we fought for will be lost," he said, his expression grave. The air grew thick with tension, and for a moment she felt the shadows closing in on her once more. Just then, the creature screamed, "You'll regret this." It lunged again, but a wall of shimmering light exploded from the pendant, throwing everyone back. The impact sent Evelyn crashing to the ground. She clutched the pendant, heart pounding as it throbbed with life. What would she do now? Her whole life had changed in an instant. Who could she trust? As she looked up, the glimmer of her father's light cut through the shadows. But in that flicker, she noticed something. The corner of the basement split like a seam, revealing yet another hidden passage behind her father. "Evelyn, there's still time. You must choose," he urged, torn between the two figures she loved, one a beacon of hope and the other a remnant of her past. She felt a new surge of fear washing over her. But just as she prepared to answer, the basement shook violently, and cobwebs of darkness flowed back, threatening to engulf her. The shadows loomed, but instead of retreating, they wrapped around her father, pulling him back into the void. "No!" she screamed, the agony piercing through her chest. "Stay with me!" The moment hung in the air, fragile and electric. The depths of the shadows twisted, revealing a face that made Evelyn's blood run cold. A reflection of herself, distorted and laughing wickedly. "You think you're unique, Evelyn? You'll never break free from your own darkness." And with that, a rush of memories flooded her mind. Images of betrayal, drowning shadows, and haunting whispers of a bloodline tainted by its own history. The choice loomed larger, pressing against her heart like a vice. Would she allow this darkness to claim her? Would she embrace what she truly feared? The ground quaked with rumbling foreboding. She stood at the precipice of a decision that would change everything. And yet, deep inside, a single question flickered like a flame. Who was she really meant to be? Would she fight, or would she let the darkness win? Evelyn stood there, the pendant gripping in her hand, heartbeat racing. Her father's light pulsed, and the shadows receded for a moment. "You have to trust me," he urged, his eyes filled with urgency. "This is about your legacy, our legacy." But before Evelyn could respond, the creature lunged again, shrieking with fury now. "You think you can challenge me?" Shadows twisted, threatening to pull them all into the dark. Evelyn felt the cold grip of dread squeezing her chest. "Get back!" she screamed, raising the pendant high and feeling the warmth bloom within her. She could feel its power, vibrant and alive, resonating with her very being. Suddenly a crack split through the air like a thunderclap. The basement shook violently. Cracks in the walls spilled darkness into the room, and the shadows surged forward, consuming all in their wake. A chilling howl resonated as the creature slipped back into the ink, growing desperate. "Evelyn!" her father shouted, his voice barely audible amid the chaos. "You have to make your choice now." But then something unexpected happened. A blinding flash lit up the room. A figure emerged from the shadows, and all eyes turned. It wasn't her father or the creature, but a familiarity that sent shockwaves through the air. A woman, tall and regal, stepped through the darkness as if she owned it. It was Evelyn's aunt, known to her only through hushed family whispers. "Aunt Clara?" Evelyn barely breathed, confusion strangling her voice. Clara had vanished, believed dead in a tragic accident at the same time as her father. Gone before memories could even solidify. "Surprise," Clara said with an icy smirk, flickers of malice in her eyes. "You should have known, dear. The blood runs thicker than the shadows." Evelyn's heart raced. "What are you talking about? I thought you were gone." "I was," Clara admitted, stepping forward with an ethereal glow about her. "But I found a way to save myself, to harness the power of our legacy." Darkness swirled. Around her, palpable and dense, the room shimmered with tension, birthing new fears. You pointed at Jacob, her voice dripping with disdain. You're nothing. This is about her, her choice, her power. Evelyn felt the ground shift beneath her. Why are you doing this? She demanded, the words tasting bitter. You should be helping us, not helping you. Clara laughed, a sound choking with poison. No, sweetheart, this is my legacy too. It's about time I took my rightful place alongside the shadows. Jacob's eyes widened, the pieces falling into place. You're part of this cursed bloodline? Disbelief painted his voice, a man unraveling in front of her. Yes, Clara hissed, her voice tinged with delight. I am the hidden truth, the one who knew the legacy. Of darkness was ours to command. I will not let it slip through my fingers again. The atmosphere crackled, and the air thickened with betrayal. Evelyn's world tilted dangerously. Everything she thought she understood spiraled into chaos, as familial bonds began to twist into chains. Clara, how could you turn like this? Grandma Rose asked, voice trembling. Funny, Clara shot back, eyes glistening with malice. You were supposed to be the protector. Instead, you locked me away with nothing. I've embraced what you feared. A scream pierced the air as shadows twirled like a whirlwind. Clara stepped toward Evelyn, shadows creeping around her feet, and in that moment, something broke. The light around Evelyn surged. She grasped the pendant tighter, rage and fear intertwining. Enough, Evelyn roared, finding strength inside her. You won't take me down the same path. And with that, she felt the energy blossom, a pulse of light exploding forth, shattering the darkness. The shadows recoiled. Clara's expression twisted in shock, but Evelyn felt a flicker of hope as the light pushed forward. But just before she could grasp the moment, Clara's voice cut through the chaos with an icy clarity. You think this is over, Evelyn? In this horrifying game? Everything she thought she knew now felt like a shattered mirror, reflecting broken pieces of truth. Where did that leave her? The cavernous basement felt smaller, thicker, alive with anticipation. The shadows whispered, and she had to wonder, what was she truly capable of becoming? Would she fight the darkness, or would she find it in herself? The struggle had just begun, and she could only hope she was ready for what was to come. Evelyn stood in the chaos, the pendant still warm in her hand. The shadows pressed against her, a suffocating blanket trapping her in fear. She could feel her father's light flicker, battling against the suffocating darkness. But the creature that had once taken her mother's form loomed, eyes glinting with malevolence. Clara's twisted smile seemed to grow, ready to consume the moment. You think you can fight me with a glow? Clara scoffed, shadows dancing around her like playful wraiths. My dear, you have no idea just how deep this goes. Evelyn felt her heart race. Why do you want this power? You could help us. Help you? Clara laughed, and it echoed through the basement. This was never about help. This was about control, about getting what I'm owed. Each word felt like a hammer striking her heart. The walls trembled, and just like that, everything changed. The darkness pulsed, responding to Clara's rage. Suddenly, the ground split beneath Evelyn's feet, fissures cracking open around them. The room brightened, and for a moment, she saw what lay below, a pit of swirling shadows, faces twisted in anguish, reaching out, as if longing for release. "Evelyn!" her father shouted, eyes wide with fear. "It's opening! You must make your choice!" But Clara stepped closer, grabbing Evelyn's arm. "Join me, and we can conquer it all together! Your destiny is intertwined with mine. Our blood sings the embers of power." Evelyn's stomach dropped. Everything she thought she knew, everything she believed about family, evaporated like mist in sunlight. "You're my aunt! You're supposed to protect us!" "Protect?" Clara's laugh danced on the air, all theme and malice, simmering with dark humor. "Your grandmother did nothing but trap our family in secrets. I chose to embrace what we are, a legacy of power. I could have saved us all, but she kept me hidden." "No!" Evelyn cried, her voice rising in desperation as anger flared inside her. "You don't get to choose this for me." But then Clara's eyes flashed with something unexpected. "Oh, you're wrong, Evelyn. It's not just about you. It's about all of us." Suddenly, the shadows surged, pulling Clara deeper into the darkness. And to Evelyn's shock, Jacob, who had been standing silent, suddenly screamed, "No! You can't! You were supposed to stay bounded." "What do you mean?" Evelyn glanced over, confusion flooding her. "What's happening?" In that moment, Clara's face twisted in panic. "You fool! You've unleashed the true curse! We're all part of it! Every choice intertwines our legacies! The darkness is coming to collect." Evelyn's eyes widened, realization hitting her like a tidal wave. "What do you mean, all of us? This is about family. You're my family." "No!" Jacob's anguished cry echoed through the basement. "I didn't want you to find out this way." "What way? What does any of this mean?" Evelyn shouted, her heart racing with dread. And then it happened. A blinding flash split the air, a tether snapping. Evelyn stumbled backward as Clara vanished into the shadows, leaving only echoes behind. "Evelyn!" Jacob's voice broke through. "Look out!" A shadow shot up, revealing itself as a figure cloaked in swirling darkness. Evelyn's breath caught as she looked closer. She understood then, her heart dropping. This creature was not merely darkness. It reflected every ounce of her fears and doubts, a twisted mirror showing her own face. "What?" she whispered, confusion morphing into horror. Jacob stepped back, eyes wide. "Your legacy runs deeper than you can understand. The ties bind us, Evelyn." The figure flickered, and before her eyes, it morphed again, shifting into a younger version of herself, eyes ablaze with power. "You're destined to embrace this darkness. You always have been," it hissed, voice a chilling echo of her own. "No!" Evelyn shouted, her mind racing. "This can't be me! I am you!" the figure roared, shadows swirling around its distorted form. "You can't escape your nature. The darkness sings to you." In that moment, everything Evelyn thought she knew shattered into thousands of pieces. All her struggles, fighting against the shadows, trying to unravel her family's curse, were merely the beginning. Jacob stepped forward, attempting to reach her. But the shadowy figure lunged, the air fizzing with energy. "Choose!" it screamed, a rapture of wrath and longing. Evelyn staggered, grappling with the truth of this new reality, a twisted fate that bound her tighter than she realized. But as fear gripped her heart, one question pressed to the surface. Was she more light or shadow? Would she join the darkness willingly, or fight against it once more? The choice hung heavily in the air, waiting for her to take a leap into the unknown. Evelyn's heart thundered as she faced the shadowy reflection of herself, the weight of her ancestry pressing down, suffocating. Wavering between light and dark, she locked eyes with the smiling specter that mocked her resolve. "You think you can fight me?" it hissed. "You are as much a part of this legacy as I am." "No!" she shouted, shaking her head fiercely. "I am not you!" As if responding to her fierce declaration, the pendant in her hand pulsed, radiating warmth that pushed against the shadows creeping closer. "I am my own person," she declared once more, the truth spilling out like a lifeline. Suddenly, the air shifted around her, thickening as Clara's laughter cut through the tension. "You cannot deny who you are, Evelyn. It's your birthright." But Evelyn's fear transformed into a blazing determination. "No, I get to choose who I become." In that moment, the robe of darkness jerked back as if it felt the thrust of her conviction. Evelyn's father stepped forward into the flickering light. "Together!" His voice was strong and clear, cutting through the confusion. Evelyn grabbed his hand, and they stood united against the shadows swirling around them. The darkness recoiled, fury bubbling in the air. Shadows crashed against each other as she thrust the pendant against the shadowy being that claimed her mother. "You won't take control of me!" With a blinding flash, the pendant glowed brighter, blasting pure, radiant light that surged forth, scattering the shadows. Evelyn felt adrenaline coursing, her father's warmth anchoring her in the storm. The echoes of her family's tortured past screamed in the peripheries, but her focus was sharp, steeled in the moment. "Break the cycle!" her father shouted. "Let the power be revealed." With a flick of her wrist, the light erupted, weaving through the darkness like lightning, illuminating everything. The basement trembled as colors of deep violet and immense white burst forth. "No!" Clara screamed, her features melting back into the darkness as the light wrapped around her and consumed her. She vanished, leaving only confusion and echoes of rage lingering in the crumbling walls. The dark void faltered, shadows unraveling as the creature that claimed to be her mother turned to wisps and blew away, leaving nothing but the scent of burnt ash and bitterness in the air. With each pulse of the pendant, remnants of pain ebbed, shadows shrinking until only silence remained. Evelyn stood tall, breathless but resolute, gazing at her father. They were no longer bound by the weight of the shadows. "I believed you were gone," she whispered, tears burning in her eyes. "I'm here now, and I'm proud of you," he replied, a fierce love shining in his expression. "You chose hope over fear. You broke the cycle." And then the whispers that filled the air softened, regretful and free, twisting into something lighter. Evelyn felt a rush of clarity washing over her. The weight of her ancestry was no longer a burden, but a map to strength. "What about the legacy?" Jacob asked, taking a step forward, the remnants of uncertainty still in his wide eyes. "It's up to each of us now," she said, her voice. "We can redefine what it means to have power." As the basement began to crumble, light pouring through cracks, Evelyn felt the warmth seep into her soul, electrifying the air around her. "Let's rebuild it, together." Outside, the sun was breaking through the clouds, brighter than it had been in years. As they emerged to the light, one last flicker passed through her mind. She would carry her family's stories, both light and dark, learning from them, but not letting them define her. Behind her, the basement sealed itself, shadows slipping into silence. Evelyn turned to her father and Jacob, her heart swelling with hope. Let's promise to make our own legacy, a strong one. As they walked away from the darkness, laughter erupted between them. A joyous sound mingling with the fresh air. Every step felt lighter, each heartbeat echoing new beginnings. They were free, and together they would forge a new destiny, built on understanding and renewal. But before you go, listen closely. You have to subscribe right now to this channel so you don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this ending. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. This is the moment to show your support, and don't wait even one more second to share this. Only real fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.